The U.S. has the highest corporate tax rate in the developed world at 39%, and it's a rate that's too high for 42 of America's top companies. Names like Johnson & Johnson, Morgan Stanley, and Walmart are all coming together to form the Alliance for Competitive Taxation, a group aimed at growing our economy by shrinking our rates. In today's Freakonomics, two well-known tax economists take on the group's essential mission, making our tax code more competitive. Joining us, Dr. Art Laffer, former Reagan advisor and chairman of Laffer Investments, and Dr. Laura Tyson, former chair of President Clinton's Economic Council, who is also now an advisor to ACT's new launch. Thank you for both being here. Dr. Tyson, I'm going to start with you. Can you tell us a little bit about what the goal of ACT is right now?
The goal of ACT is really to try to move forward, build into the bipartisan support which exists in the Congress with the administration for corporate tax reform, comprehensive corporate tax reform that lowers the rate, that is deficit neutral, that takes away a lot of the distortions and inefficiencies in what is an extremely complex tax code that we currently have.
Dr. Laffer, if we get lower rates, does that mean we're going to get economic growth?
Oh, sure it does. I couldn't agree with Laura more than that she said. It's just perfect. I mean, we need to lower those rates, broaden the tax base, and make it really work. There's no logic whatsoever in having a progressive tax codes on corporations, and there's really no logic in even having it on profits, as a matter of fact. It really should be on value added at a very low rate. And the problems that we have in this country with our high corporate tax code, tax rates, is really amazing because we're losing business.
Yeah, well, let's talk about some of those problems. I mean, besides losing business, besides losing GDP growth, Laura, we're also sort of, I guess, effectively helping some of the accountants out, because ultimately, when you look at what corporations are really paying, they're not paying the full-on 39% anyway.
Well, you know what's really interesting about this coalition? They're not, no. And what's really interesting about this coalition is company after company has said, look, you know, we would like to simplify the code. We understand that at the end of the day, with lower rates, there is going to be base broadening, and some of us will end up paying overtime more. But we would much rather have an efficient system which allows us to compete on a level playing field with our other multinationals who are in very different systems with much lower rates, where it's much easier for them to bring their profits back to their home headquarters for investment in their home country.
Are we talking about a territorial tax here, Art?
Well, I would like to see it just a U.S. tax. I mean, it's really unfair that a U.S. corporation, let's say operating in Ireland, which is competing with other countries' companies there, they are only required to pay the 12.5% that Ireland charges its profits, and yet we have to pay the full U.S. rate of not 39%, which is really unfair and puts us at a disadvantage. I think we should just be on U.S. based profits, and then all the rest of those profits could come home.
Laura, since so many American corporations, at least according to your work and certainly what we hear day after day, since so many American corporations want to pay lower taxes, and since the community in Washington, the lobby community, seems to have endlessly deep pockets, why can't we seem to make any headway with Congress on tax reform?
Well, first of all, I want to specify that what these companies are about is a lower rate. And the lower rate with the base broadening is something that has widespread support among the economics profession on whatever their political background is. So I just want to start with that. Secondly, you know, there are trade-offs. I mean, these companies recognize there are trade-offs. Every time you change the tax system, and we have an incredibly complex one, right now the system works so that there are major tax differences between sectors, between the retail sector, the manufacturing sector, the financial services sector. Broadening the base, taking away a lot of those preferences with a much lower rate, is going to change the relative position of some of these sectors. So you can see why. What's wonderful about this coalition is a broad coalition across a wide range of sectors saying, you know what, we'll accept the trade-offs, because the gains to U.S. competitiveness and jobs and the efficiency of the tax code and our ability to do business around the world are so great that we'll accept the trade-offs.
Hey, it'll just simplify everything.
And I think if I can...
Go ahead, Art.
If I could just add to what Laura said, I mean, a lot of these corporations that don't pay any taxes to the government still pay a heck of a lot of money in trying to get around those taxes. So what you really want in a tax code is where what the corporation pays is what the government collects.
Well,
and it's not just hiring lawyers and accountants and lobbyists and all these other silly things. And that's exactly what Laura is saying, that it would really work to make the tax codes far more efficient.
You know, hey, I love it when I can get a Clinton economist and a Reagan economist to agree on something. You both would like to see lower corporate taxes.